The IEBC Dispute Resolution Committee finally made their ruling, and one that we had all been waiting for with bated breath. This is a ruling that had a lot of significance, and in their ruling, they gave the Nairobi Senator, Mr. Johnson Sakaja, the green light to go ahead and contest for the Nairobi gubernatorial seat come August this year. And this has elicited a lot of reaction, and very many people actually were happy, especially the Kenya Kwanza team. But this ruling, I must tell you that it exposed the fallacy of our leaders. It exposed how cheap our leaders can go to mislead a country. As a Kenyan, and with only 50 days to the election, I just want to send request our leaders to be very cautious with their utterances, because every leader in this country, from the MCA all the way to the presidency, have got followings. They have people who they influence directly, people who, feel that whatever they say is alpha and omega. And Kenya has become of age so much that we cannot go back to the darkest days. When Johnson Sakaja was requested to submit his physical degree certificate, I expected Mr. Sakaja to simply present his certificate, period. I mean, it was that simple. I want to ask any Kenya Kwanza supporter out there, because today I just want us to have a honest discussion, open discussion. If you are a lawyer or if you understand matters law, you have been directed or requested by an institution, a court of law, or any other body that is mandated within the Constitution to do so, and it asks you to bring a physical certificate. Let's say, for example, you have been requested to bring a physical land title deed, maybe a locomotive logbook, or a certificate for that matter. What are you supposed to do? Are you supposed to go out there and start claiming that someone is after your downfall? Are you supposed to go outside there and start saying, even if I don't have the title deed that belongs to the land that I stay in, even Mr. X does not have, so it's okay? I mean, this is the case that I witnessed with the Kenya Kwanza team. And I must say that I was disappointed, because with the level of democracy that we have, we must scrutinize our leaders. If you ask a leader to present his academic credentials, I mean, this is the best thing that can happen to us as a country, so that by the time I elect my leader, I know is a man or a woman who qualifies to be in that office, because the office of the stature of a governor is not a small office. That is an office that controls quite huge amount of money. It is an office that requires a lot of sobriety and intelligence. And these academic qualifications are set by the law, by the Constitution. And I was wondering why very many people, did not really appreciate the fact that we can question our leaders. It was good that we can ask a presidential candidate, we can ask a gubernatorial candidate to prove that he's worth contesting in that office. And so I was disappointed, number one, when the Kenya Kwanza team went and prosecuted the Sakaja matter in the courts of public opinion. You do not go and start asking that by the look of someone's countenance, do you think is learned or not? Like William Ruto was asking, huyu jamaa ukimwangalia anakaa hajasoma. We do not know your academic qualification, or we don't judge your academic qualification by looking at you. Haijaandikwa kwa sura. Honestly, Kenyans, I don't know whether I'm the one who got this a bit amusing, but I was disappointed. And so, number one, the fallacy of our leaders is that anything that is in the hands of maybe judges or a constitutional body should be left to that office to deal with it. That is it. We voted and established a new constitution that gave autonomy to independent offices. And you cannot, carry a matter that is in court to your rallies and start making noise with it. Sakaja has been a man who is very sober and very smart. I don't know why he was caught up in this melee. He should have stayed focused to the cause of what he wants. Our leaders should not interfere, because by making such utterances, you lure your supporters into thinking that perhaps the courts cannot be trusted. And so when the courts finally delivered their verdict and allowed Mr. Sakaja to contest, this was good. And it shows that the leaders, the Kenya Kwanza leaders led by Mr. William Ruto, should have just given the court their time to do their work. It was unnecessary going to make noise outside there. Number two, I was disappointed. In fact, I was a worried man when I heard the Kenya Kwanza team saying that Mr. Uhuru Kenyatta, who is the president of this country, is the man who initiated the revocation of the academic certificate of Mr. Sakaja. I got worried because in this century, I don't want to believe that the executive can still interfere with the constitutional bodies. And I got worried because if Uhuru Kenyatta can make a call to Uganda and that call materializes into infringing to the rights of an individual Kenyan, that is unacceptable. But the Kenya Kwanza team went ahead and said that it is Mr. Kenyatta who was interfering, or who was after the downfall of Mr. Johnson Sakaja. I want to believe that this was a fallacy, because if Mr. Kenyatta was trying to interfere with this process, the court should have ruled against Sakaja. If Uhuru has those powers, if he is capable of twisting the judiciary, then I can assure you, I can be a very sad person. And this ruling should have not gone the way it went. And so this was a fallacy, yet another fallacy by our leaders. Sakaja was asked to present his credentials. Then, the Kenya Kwanza team started saying that RAILA should also present his certificates. If they have a problem with Raila Amolo Odinga, then they should have gone to court and say, we want to petition this presidential candidate, there's a mere one Kenya presidential candidate, to prove that he actually has a valid degree. But you cannot wait for a situation like this when Sakaja is being asked to prove himself and then drag in the names of other people. So it has been proved that Uhuru Kenyatta was not part of this scheme, in quotes, to bring down Sakaja. I also sometimes a few weeks ago listened to the Kenya Kwanza team complaining to the European Union that they have a feeling that the IEBC is not autonomous, that they are prone to interference by the executive. They stated, the state officers who have been making utterances to the effect that their statistics show that RAILA Odinga is leading. I got worried again because you all understand that up to date, the server has not been opened, despite the fact that it was ordered by the Supreme Court to be opened. And if by now, with only 50 days to the election day, if by now someone can still claim that the IEBC is not independent, as a Kenyan, you should be worried too, because, I mean, I want to wake up in the morning, cast my vote because it is my democratic right, but I also want to be sure that my vote is going to be reflected or to reflect in the IEBC result. So if by now someone can still tell me that the IEBC is not independent, I mean, I should be a worried man. And so I waited for this ruling. Now that the IEBC has proved themselves to be, or itself to be independent, it has proved the Kenya Kwanza team wrong. Another fallacy. And that is the reason I'm saying that this ruling exposed our leaders. We create a hula baloo out of nothing. The IEBC is independent. The president did not have a hand in this. It was a democratic process, a constitutional requirement. And so I'm just asking Kenyans that we should have a honest discussion. Let us be mature in our politics. You know, if we play petty politics, a government that is established on